Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I play as Spain in the Second Great War and we're going to be forming the Spanish Empire. Now, the strange thing is that, not strange really, but the thing is that I've kind of already done a video like this. I've done the Spanish Empire video, which was by far one of my longest recordings that I've ever done, and mind you, done all at once. And that was one hell of a challenge. But this one is similar in that the territories are like, the empire we're forming is similar. But like, of course, this was a suggestion given to me, to do it in the Second Great War this time instead of my own formable. And so that's why I'm gonna do this, just since it was well requested. And the first thing I do is obviously take back Gibraltar. That's been taken from Spain for like a 400 something years. I don't know how many years, but it's some war of Spanish since the War of Spanish Succession. And then I immediately used that to take over Morocco because they're the next easiest targets and also very close by, and would make a very good population center to recruit from later on in the game. And what I do then is I puppet Morocco and then annex them to get all the territory, and then I decide to just release Morocco as two states at the bottom, just to give them, because I didn't really need them for the formables. So yeah, I just re-released them again. And then I moved the leftover troops from that invasion all the way to Central America, where I began to invade Haiti, and then immediately went after the Dominican Republic, and took that over. So now I'd taken over all of Hispaniola. I guess we renamed the island or something in this world. So then immediately after that, I moved over to Panama. I kept the momentum going. And with this, keep in mind, this is the same army that invaded Morocco. This is one army. And I invaded Costa Rica as well. And then I stopped at Nicaragua because I knew I wouldn't be able to win the next war if I continued on like that. And so then I decided to wait a bit more. And then I recruited some more people from Spain and sent them all right back to Central America, right? And then once they finally reached there, I invaded Nicaragua, and that invasion went pretty quickly as well. And then using the same army, I invaded Honduras, not El Salvador, Honduras. And then using that same army, I invaded El Salvador too. But I forgot to make the peace deal as well. I nearly forgot to do that. And I invaded El Salvador as well and then took them over. So now I'm basically in control of all of Mesoamerica. It's called Mesoamerica, right? Yeah. And then I used that remaining army to then invade Ecuador because I realized, I think it was Mexicans that were at war with Ecuador, or someone was at war with Ecuador, and I needed to take it quickly to prevent losing the country to someone more powerful. And once I took the Galapagos Islands, I just annexed the whole thing and then puppeted the rest out and released it as a monarchist nation. And then just I took the provinces I needed and kept that. And so now I basically could attack Colombia from two sides, but that would be for later. Next thing, I realized that I had fully cored the provinces in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, or Hispaniola, and then I used those troops to invade Cuba, right? Taking back the old colonial possession that was taken from Spain by America and then given independence and whatever. I'm not going to go into all that. But then Brazil declared war on me all of a sudden, so I got like all their neighbors to just jump them, and that solved the problem really quick. And soon enough, I realized I was ready to invade Colombia, and I took my troops from Cuba and I moved them over to Panama. And then, of course, I recruited a lot more troops because I knew this is going to be much harder than the previous invasions. And you really reinforced my line over there. Now, the funny thing is that, Morocco tried to attack me, but I really didn't care. The funny thing is that I kind of puppeted Colombia because what I wanted to do, and I puppeted Venezuela too, right? And what I wanted to do is eventually annex them, but the problem was that their liberty desire kept rising so much that eventually I couldn't, and I just gave up trying to puppet them that way. And then all of a sudden, France invades me. Now, I had money luckily, and so I could raise an army, and then Algeria joins in, right? So France, and then now it's ex-colony too. And then soon enough, both are I'm able to make peace with both because I get Germany to declare war on France. Meanwhile, Colombia finally declares quote unquote independence from me, after I just sort of decided they're my puppet. And then for that, I invaded them. Because I mean, I just wanted a reason to invade, so like, why not, right? And then Colombia basically fell shortly after, and their resistance collapsed. And then once that happened, I just took the whole country. And then immediately, as I was signing the peace deal, Venezuela declares independence too. And I knew that if I said fine, there's gonna be a truce for like 30 turns, and I was not prepared to wait that long. So they started attacking me immediately, and I started actually losing a bit of territory. But that was all reversed quickly when my troops came from the south, and I actually gave a bunch of territory to my Ecuador puppet. I mean territory of Colombia, right? Because I mean I like strengthening my puppets, but then I also released Colombia as a nation, and decided to give them the provinces that I didn't need. And then as I did that, I continued invading Venezuela as well. Um, and soon this Venezuela as well collapsed, and yeah, no, they could not resist anymore. Yep, they just died. And then once I took over all of that, I annexed everything, and then once again, but then instead of releasing Venezuela itself, I decided to just release Catalonia too, because why not? I just had it as a releasable nation, and I just decided to give Catalonia independence, but just in South America. Um, yeah, as I mean now, but now, see, the case was that as you notice, my South American borders are completely secure, as in they are completely covered by vassal states to the south, which helps me a lot. And so afterwards, I decided to focus on Cameroon, or well, mainly Africa, right? Because I mean, I had a bit of territory that I'd need to take in Africa. So, as you can see, I use Morocco as my mass recruitment base, and with that, I raised a massive army to invade Africa. So I basically raised an army in Africa to invade Africa. Yes, that is right. And then I just decided to just annex Equatorial Guinea, like with threatening them. And then I decided before invading Cameroon, I threatened the surrounding nations to give me what I want. If they didn't, I'd invade. If they did, I'd take it. And so, first it was Gabon, they accepted. Next was Republic of the Congo, they accepted too. They gave me two provinces. Next was the Central African Republic, and they accepted too. So now I basically like wrapped around the Congo, um, you know, despite doing absolutely nothing to do that. Like, um, nothing at all. I was just able to annex my way there. And soon I was able to. Wait, no, did I say Congo? I mean Cameroon, sorry. And soon I invaded all of Cameroon, right? And I was about to peace deal, but then I just decided to finish it off, and took it all over. And then I thought about what I wanted to release, and so first thing I did, I released Cameroon and the two provinces, and then that was it. And now I was done with my territories in Africa, and so I moved those guys all the way to Mexico. Oh yeah, and a bunch of people declared war on me. And see, that's the annoying thing, right? As I was playing this game, one of the most frustrating parts about all this was that people kept declaring war on me. Okay? So then, oh yeah, Morocco tries again to independence. I just let them go this time. I don't even puppet them again. Meanwhile, over uh, over here, I'm just trying to increase stability. I realized that I had troops left from the French invasion, and so I used those troops to invade Italian Sardinia and the Italian islands. And I actually managed to land in Sicily too. And I raised more troops in Spain itself to fight back, or not fight back, like to try again, because the Italians managed to push me out of Sicily. And so then I started getting attacked by a whole host of nations. And again, this is the problem. As I continued to rise in power, more and more nations just kept declaring war. You know, very symbolic, and yeah, I know. So then I started invading Italy. Right, I started making my way up, And then I started getting bogged down in Naples and decided to make peace with a small truce, right? Because I didn't want to lose the territory all the way up into Sicily all over again just to get it back. And then afterwards, Argentina declared war on me, and I tried to make peace with them. They didn't, so I just got all their neighbors to completely dismantle them as a nation. And then um, I assimilated the territories, and I decided that I remembered Portugal exists, and so of course I was gonna invade them because I mean they're part of the territory here. So I raised a massive Spanish army to invade Portugal from all directions with over I think over like 6,000 troops. No, over 9,000, over 8,000 troops in each province. And of course the invasion was like a success on all fronts. I mean, we completely just overwhelmed Portugal, and I didn't even bother taking the islands. I just banished the country all to just the islands. That's it. And now that I had a new huge army, I moved them all to Sicily to prepare for the next war with the coming war with the Italians. And almost as soon as the peace treaty ended, as in the truce ended, I was back and I took the rest of Sicily. And so now I would leave the Italians alone. And so now that I had those troops free, I moved. I think I moved everybody over all the way over to South America. And of course, as I continued to play, people kept declaring war on me. It was so frustrating. Anyways, now I prepared for what would be the greatest invasion of this entire game, really, in the invasion of Mexico, which would be by far the biggest nation that I had attacked. And so soon, once I started the war, the advance really was very quick, really, right? Because I had overwhelming numbers on this front line. But of course, the Mexican defense was really good because they had large numbers as well. But again, my superior large numbers was able to persevere. And the thing was, a large contingent of my forces went to the Yucatan. But the Mexicans were clever. They landed a huge naval assault, right? And they kept coming, bringing more. And they actually threatened to basically encircle my entire army and cut it off. So I basically panicked and called everyone back. And they actually did. They succeeded in cutting off and splitting my armies in two at one point. But of course, that would be impossible to do for long because my army was too big. And Mexico, okay, let me be real. For once, the AI is actually smart with its naval invasions. Like the Mexican AI actually attacked provinces that I didn't have troops in, and that really messed up my invasion. Like I was doing good, and then they forced me to return, which made it more costly for me. But then, of course, once I dealt with that and took control of the seas, I decided that in revenge, I would naval invade them just to be a pain in their ass. Like, that naval invasion did absolutely nothing, and those troops did nothing. But they at least made it to Mexico City. And as soon as they were taken out and destroyed in Mexico City, my main army arrived and took it anyways. And so, just like that, Mexican resistance basically collapsed after that point. They could no longer, I think they'd run out of money, and so they could no longer muster up large armies. And while I was at it, I decided to annex Belize because, well, might as well when I have the army to threaten them with, even though that army is completely tied up in a different war. And yeah, no, the rest of this was just me slowly but surely invading the rest of northern Mexico, all the way and just, stopping at the U.S. border, of course. Can't get over the wall, let's be real. And of course, I sent troops around to Baja California, and finally, we took over Mexico. Now, the peace deal didn't allow me to take everything, so I just took a bit and then puppeted them and then annexed them afterwards. And just like that, we formed the Spanish Empire. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.